I have not read many books where the protagonist being the smartest person in the room is a problem. Queen of Shadows is my 5th read in Sarah J. Maas's Throne of Glass series, and this is clearly the moment where the series wants to level up. Everything in this book is bigger. The plot's bigger, the stakes are higher, the cast is larger than in the previous books, and the plot is considerably more elaborate than we've experienced before. Aelin Galathynius, Queen of Terrasen, is positioned here as a mastermind. She is always several moves ahead. She is always in control, and that could work. But this book keeps deploying the same trick. Something goes wrong, tension appears to build, and then a few pages later we learn that she planned for this all along, over and over and over. And what that creates is not suspense. It is the performance of suspense. Real tension requires the reader to understand enough of the problem to fear the outcome. Withholding information from us is not the same thing. The pacing in this book is a little bit strange. The first third of the book, when everyone is like reconnecting and like, hey, how are you, has some really good energy. The middle third is a very long stretch of meetings and maneuverings, a remarkable amount of like talking with their eyebrows and some sort of facial sign language. But then there's very little sense of danger underneath any of it. And then the third section arrives at a full sprint, cramming in all of our confrontations, revelations, and really messy lore dumps. And all of this is compressed into a rush that just doesn't quite land with all of the weight that it's looking for. It gets kind of close. I think that Dorian's story arc is one of the highlights of this book. He has an actual emotional arc, and we are concerned whether or not things will be okay for him. And the uncertainty of his situation does more for this book than all of Aelin's mastermind chess moves combined. Because Dorian is allowed to be in actual danger, and actual danger is interesting. Manon Blackbeak remains to be the single best thing happening in this series. She is extremely capable, she is supremely menacing, she's also incredibly cool. She exhibits huge character growth, again, in far fewer pages than she deserves. Her reputation is earned on the page rather than just repeatedly asserted, and Queen of Shadows is significantly better every time Manon is on the page. Also, speaking about cool characters, let's add Lysandra to the mix. Super cool. I also think that the court intrigue side of this book is another instance where it falls a little flat. And again, that comes back to the issue of like just how clever we're being. Clever protagonists work when cleverness has real limits, when they miscalculate, when they lose something they can't immediately recover. The victories in Queen of Shadows are not hard won enough to justify all of the machinations happening around them, especially when that machinery is just her whipping out the same trick over and over and over. Shout out to Lysandra's jeweler for being the most skilled person in this whole book. One of my friends in my Fable book club said it best. This felt like a book that wants credit for being epic simply for being large and full of things. This is the strongest entry in the Throne of Glass series so far, in my opinion. The supporting cast has never been more interesting, and at this point I am at least morbidly curious about what comes next, even if I remain largely unmoved by the person at the center of it. Why this series is popular is evident. Big emotions, big action, big characters. Many people said that this is the book where the series turns, and I think that's fairly accurate. I'm still not sure that the juice was worth the squeeze, but let me get through the rest of the books before I make that claim. Empire of Storms is next. Bye.